there, past the incinerator. We can reach them if we move these platforms back into place.
Move the platforms. We won't last long trapped here. Platforms are in place. Move!
sound. It is coming from somewhere below us.
I'm told that the tunnels are sealed and Jane's forces are repulsed. That was fine work. Now she's trying to drill her way inside at the base of the deep well. You heard the noise in the tunnels, no doubt.
What kind of drill are we talking about?
Goblin technology. Easy enough to procure if you have contacts in Stonebridge, and everyone does. We acquire our cannons the same way.
Phineas and I have prepared a trap for Jane. It will require all our remaining stores of black powder.
We'll need to shut down the stone stream, allow the combustible vapors to accumulate at the bottom of the well.
So if the vapors collect at the bottom of the deep well, we can set off an explosion.
And consume Jane's army and fire. If any survive, they'll surely be crushed by falling rock, and their tunnel will be buried as well. I've taken some of the cannons that you saved from the swamp and set them at the bottom of the well. If Jane's forces break through the tunnel too soon, they'll provide a tactical advantage.
What do you think of our plan? Lord Devonsey is sure it will work, but I should like to hear the Legion's opinion too.
This is our best chance to inflict terrible losses on Jane, and still keep most of your people alive.
You must think of your own people first, Your Majesty. Jane's army will show them no mercy.
Most of Jane's soldiers are deluded and young. What a horrible way to die, for men and women who are little older than me. I'm sorry. You must think me silly and soft. If you and Lord Devonsey are agreed, then I shall trust your judgment.
Phineas will climb to the top of the well and shut off the stone stream. Will you go with him and keep him safe?
Phineas will be safe with me, as long as he stays close.
Right. I've got to fetch a few books and scrolls. I'll meet you at the top of the well. There you are. Let's hurry. I should be able to form a path to the center.
The stone stream. To think of the dwarves who built this device, and all that they knew.
There it is. I've never been this close. Sad that we must put it to rest. This will take a few moments, and all of my focus. Sentinels! They won't stop until I halt the stone stream. Keep them back!
More sentinels, just like the ones in the chapter house.
I need to rest a while. Go on, quickly. I'll be safe here.
Phineas did it, didn't he? The fans have stopped, which means that the well is going to be a dangerous place very soon. Unfortunately, it won't be soon enough. Jane's army broke through and her men are storming into the bedrock. Lord Devonsey and his soldiers are holding them off. Help them buy us some time to get our explosives ready. Then we'll send those bastards to Azanai.
Loyalists are fighting below. Maybe we can turn the tide in their favor.
Fight for Queen Rosalind!
I'm glad you're safe. Look, down there. We held the high ground, but they're pushing us back. My soldiers need your help. You can take the floating platform to the bottom. Thanks to you, we still have our cannons from the swamp. We'll use them to cover you until Roderick signals us all to retreat. Do whatever you can to delay Jane's army. We need more time for the vapors to build up at the bottom of the well.
Your peace. My Lady Jane Cassandra calls parley.
Lower your weapons. We've come here to talk. I would know who leads my enemy's army. Tell me, why is your face so familiar? Are you the child of some lord that I've slain?
You, of all people, should recognize the Legion when you meet them.
And the girl? The one who stands with you? Why does an Archon fight against her own kind?
Be silent, traitor. You and your handmaids are no blood of mine.
My lady, I know them. These are the Legionnaires who spared my life in Raven's Rill.
Mercy from the Legion? I find that hard to believe. Unless it was some kind of ploy. Violence has always been the Legion's way. Ever since Hugh Montbaron murdered the old king. Did you plan the same for little Queen Mouse?
The Queen doesn't believe your lies. She trusts the Legion.
Then she is a stupid, sheltered little girl who lays her neck between the jaws of a lion. She doesn't know the Legion as I do. The old king. The man your Legion sought to murder and displace. He was my father.
And your mother? Who was she?
An Archon. One of the last of her kind. Granted shelter and solace by my father, the king.
If your father was the old king, then you and Rosalind are family.
By blood, Rosalind is my niece. But I will never call her kin. Her family stood by, content to watch, while I destroyed the Legion and avenged our father. Only then did they turn against me. They raised an army to put me in chains. A mistake, they'd tell you. If they were not all dead.
Rosalind had no part in any of this, so why fight her?
Because Rosalind is weak. She could never rebuild this nation alone. She'll be forced to rely upon others, like your Legion. And you will have power over her. But that is what you want, is it not? I have no need to make such bargains. I am strong enough to rebuild my father's kingdom on my own. And greater powers, not of this world, have shown their favor of me. I will not fail.
We've spoken enough about your father and his kin.
Now you know why I lay claim to this kingdom. I am well within my rights.
I don't believe any of this. You offer no proof besides your word.
Does she think this story justifies all the evil she has done? No. She is a monster.
They need not be killed, my lady. We could offer exile, or...
Not to the Legion. No. I have heard the voices of my mother's lost gods. On this day, they will grant me victory over you and the Pretender Queen. This parley is finished. Remain here, and you will be slain. Try to run, and I will hunt you down. We shall not speak again.
Something is coming. Something very large.
The war beast lay dead, its fall testament to the might of the 10th Legion. But it seemed a Pyrrhic victory as the Azunite army pushed into the deep well. Hundreds of soldiers poured from the tunnels, easily outnumbering the Royalist forces. You and your allies fled before them, but this was not the defeat it might have seemed. Without the stone stream to refresh it, the air in the deep well was a seething cauldron of explosive gas, awaiting the merest spark. That spark, the Royalists were all too happy to provide. The explosion collapsed the well, entombing the Azunites beneath the mountain, and shattering Jane Cassinder's hopes of destroying the Queen. Would that Cassinder herself had been buried there, along with her men. But such an end was not her fate.
Jane's army is fleeing down the mountain. The woman lives, but we're safe from her. For now.
The victory is yours. We owe the Legion our lives.
I'm told that Jane spoke to you. She mentioned the old king, no doubt. And the Legion's role in his...
I need to know what really happened. All the facts, no matter how shameful.
Jane Cassinder spoke the truth, as far as she understands it. The commanders of the Legion did conspire to unseat the old king. The goal was never to murder the old king, only to replace him with his eldest son. But the king resisted, and the matter went awry.
You must understand. My grandfather was a monster. Even his own children despised him.
If the king was a monster, then they were right to remove him.
Yes, that was exactly what Hugh Montbaron said. The old king was prone to paranoia, irrational rages. He'd grown jealous of the Legion. We were too rich and too strong for his taste. Before long, he started seizing our chapter houses and estates, threatening to disband the Legion altogether. So Montbaron struck first.
If they didn't mean to harm the king, then why was he slain?
I wasn't there when it happened, but I'm told that the king drew a sword. The man wasn't much of a fighter, more a danger to himself than the Legionnaires. Who knows how he ended up with a blade in his gut? All the parties are long dead, and we shall never learn the truth.
We have a friend, an old Legion scout called Odo. Would he have known about the plot?
No. Montbaron told the rank and file nothing, so that they wouldn't share in his guilt. Little good it did them. They all died, innocent or not.
Jane told me something else. She said that she was the king's illegitimate daughter.
Ah, the old rumors. I can't say for sure, but I am inclined to believe them.
Jane Cassinda shares my blood? What else have you not told me, Lord Devonsey? The woman lost her father. Her family betrayed her. That doesn't excuse what she's done, but at least now I understand. I would ask one more favor of the Legion. Should you meet her again, will you spare Jane Cassinda's life?
Your Majesty, she's been hunting you and your family for years. Why would you ask me to spare her life?
This mountain once bustled with dwarves, and now they are gone. Dead so that I might keep my crown. My parents, my maids and courtiers, all of Lord Devonsey's men. Too many have died for my sake.
Your Majesty, think of the political ramifications.
If Jane Cassinda dies, do you think the cities of the East will bow their heads? No. They will curse us for murdering their living saint, and the war will drag on.
Whereas, if we come to an agreement and Jane is kept alive, the war ends peacefully.
You assume that the woman will surrender at all. I wouldn't make such a wager.
If she's willing to surrender, I'll let Jane live.
Lord Devonsey will surely chastise me for my gentle nature, but I am sure this is the right course. Whatever happens, the Legion has my trust and support.
I shall send riders to all the towns and villages that support the Queen with news of our alliance. You have the word of the royal court. All Western Ebb will stand united behind the Legion.
My family should have wrecked.
We've come a long way from that filthy swamp, haven't we? You've given us a victory that will be remembered for years to come. Escorting you to the causeway is the least that we can do. Are you ready to go?
Yes, let's head to the causeway.
We've had rumors of another battle. Is it true? Jane Cassinda's army retreating in disarray?
She is beaten. The only misfortune is that Jane herself survived.
And Rosalind, what did you think of her? Worthy to wear the crown or no?
She's young and soft-hearted. With guidance, she could become strong.
I think that bodes well for us. Strength can be learned. Empathy and compassion cannot.
What about our proposal? Does she favor the Legion?
Rosalind agreed to an alliance. She and Devonsey gave their word.
Well done. But that's not all, is it? The news can't all be good.
My father tried to unseat the old king. The murder was an accident, but Dificil said that...
No more. I don't want to hear. You think I hadn't guessed it was something like that? I still called it a lie. We can't tell this story, not ever.
The people already heard this from Jane. It's too late to hide the truth.
If we win this war, Jane will be dead. Her words become lies, and ours become truth.
You're wrong, Odo. The story needs to be told, or the lesson will never be learned.
And what then? The people won't blame Baron. They'll paint the whole Legion with the same bloody brush. Kingslayers forevermore. We'll be feared. No matter how virtuous we seem, we'll always be a threat.
Better that the people hear the truth from our lips. I won't lie to them.
I was half afraid that Martin might say something like this, but you too?
The Legion will be better for this, not worse. The Crown as well. If we all know the story and remember it, we won't repeat the same mistakes. We've made our choice. Let's speak of something else. What else did you learn in Glitterdelf?
Jane Cassinda is the daughter of the old king. She told me herself. You never knew?
I always thought that was just a rumor. This changes things.
If Jane Cassinda is the old king's daughter, then she has a claim to the throne. Probably thinks it's her right.
Better to strike now while she's off balance. Still reeling from her loss at Glitterdelf.
Or maybe Jane will listen to reason, now that she's tasted defeat.
You bloodied her nose and you stung her pride, that's true. But the army you destroyed was only a small part of her strength. If we try to talk, we'll only give her time to rebuild. We need an ally who can distract her forces, while we go after Jane herself.
We've already sealed an alliance with the Meisters. Perhaps they'll lend us their automaton army.
I'll speak to the Council. I think the Meisters will agree.
Hard to predict what the Council will do, but you're probably right. We'll wait for your word.
the envoy from the 10th Legion. Always a pleasure to receive our good friend.
We plan to attack Jane Cassinda, but we can't defeat her alone. The Legion needs your automaton army.
And leave our city undefended? That, seems rather rash, does it not?
Irrelevant. We made a contract with the Legion, Meister Grimmelhaus. The Council is not above the law.
I suppose...
Capital! I can have the automatons ready in short order. Shall I make ready to leave? I should warn you, we may not return to Stonebridge again before this war is over.
How many automatons are left? I destroyed a lot of them.
The Gent only managed to take control of about half of our automatons, and not all of those were destroyed, so the army is intact. Jane's...
I don't see any reason to wait. We'll leave for the Spire as soon as you're able.
The Spire stands atop Mount Jereb. That's a week's march from here, on foot. Our automatons will assault the town of Aegis Bay at the foot of the mountain. They'll engage Jane's forces and provide a distraction, you see. That will give you a chance to climb the trails to the top of the mountain and assault the Spire itself. It will be an honor to fight alongside the Legion, and may fortune smile upon our endeavor.
At long last, the tide turned. No longer was the 10th Legion fighting a defensive war. With the automaton army of Stonebridge behind us, we took the battle to our enemy. Under the command of Martin Guiscard and Meister Wolf, our army poured forth from Stonebridge in a flood of iron and flame. The journey was a long one and difficult. Had you marched with soldiers of flesh and blood, I do not doubt that many would have died, but the automatons were tireless. At last you reached your goal, the Spire. Crowning the sacred mountain of Jereb, it was the heart of Jane Cassinder's strength. No army had ever conquered it. Azunite zealots and Stonebridge automatons clashed at the mountain's foot. Blind faith and cold reason struggled for dominance as the ground churned with oil and blood. Above the clamor of the battle, you ascended a forgotten path up the mountain, seeking the Spire itself.
Wait, no weapons. We've come to talk, not to fight.
Quickly, Rajani. We shouldn't be here.
Jane doesn't know you're here, does she?
We only speak for ourselves, not for Our Lady.
Jane is first among our sisters, like her mother before her. We don't want to betray her, but...
Jane has lost her way. She talks of visions and dreams. A great tree, carrion birds. She claims to hear the voices of our lost gods in her mind, and that proves she is mad.
So what do you propose?
You spared my life in Raven's Rill, and when you spoke to Jane in Glitterdelve, you weren't the monster that she said you'd be. I don't want to see my sisters destroyed in Jane's pointless war. Too few of us are left. We ask for your mercy, for our sisters and for Jane herself. In return, we'll grant you whatever aid we can.
I promised the Queen that I'd spare Jane's life. I'll try to spare your sisters, too.
So Jane was wrong about you after all. When Rajani told me,
I didn't believe. Beyond this gate is the Bailey Garden filled with soldiers. They're fanatics, loyal only to Jane. They think her a saint, and you'll never sway them. At the far side of the garden is a door, protected by a magical seal. 2 of our sisters fashioned that seal from their own living fire. Now their lives are tied to the seal. To pass the door, you would need their consent, and that they'll never give. So you'll have to find them and kill them.
I thought you wanted me to spare your sisters' lives.
Those 2, the ones who watch the gate, they're different. No one speaks of them. Not anymore. The spell they wove has driven them mad. They don't even answer to their old names. We only know them as the Archon of Vengeance and the Archon of War.
Enough about the spire. I should be able to find my way.
As you wish. Can we tell you anything more?
You haven't told me where I'll find Jane.
No need. She'll find you. She's somewhere in the spire, probably watching using our eyes as her own. She'll know that we've betrayed her.
Are there any hidden places? Secrets that Jane wouldn't want me to find?
The dungeon, underneath the Bailey Garden that lies just ahead. Jane keeps her most valuable prisoners there. Look for the stone centerpiece in the middle of the garden. The door to the dungeon is hidden in its base. But you can only open the door by stepping on a golden pressure plate, hidden in the corner of the garden.
You should leave this place. And stay away from our soldiers. They'll take you for enemies.
No, wait. The girl who travels with you. Why doesn't she know who she is?
We may share the same eyes. And yes, I can call fire like you. But I've never seen you before. I'm not one of your sisters.
But you're wrong. We know you. Don't you remember the place where you died?
You saw Anjali die? Where did this happen?
When we first came to this world, she tried to follow Jane's mother into a primordial forest, where a fragment of the first creation was said to lie. The forest consumed her, tore her to pieces before our eyes. We thought it was a sign, choosing Jane's mother over the rest of us. But now our sister has returned to trumpet Jane's fall. We don't know that yet. We'll wait for now. The meaning will make itself clear.
Much obliged.
help me!
You're not one of Cassinda's mercenary dogs. Please, for the love of mercy, let me out of here!
Where might I find the keys to these cells?
The jailer carries them. He lingers at the north end of the cell block, though he passes through here to torment us often enough.
I'll return when I have the...
Zunai's blood. Where did you lot come from? Mother, we'll put you in your place soon enough.
Obliged.
sincerest thanks, sir, for my liberation from that din of in freeing us from that dreadful captivity.
Thank you. I thought I'd rot in there for sure. I shall certainly bear this in mind when... considering any future donations to the Azonite Church.
I do hope you made that jailer suffer.
You're with the
he
Legion?
expired.
I'd heard that all of you were dead.
Have you got the keys yet?
Of course. Just let me get this door unlocked.
Azonite, bless your soul, friend! You're a true hero, you are, and I'll be sure as to tell anyone I meet.
All is fire and blood and the screams of dying men. The stench of burst guts, sweltering heat of battle lust, taste of copper and fear. Armies wheel and clash, steel turns to flame in the morning sun. Forever and unchanging. War without end. War without end. What is this? The foeman seeks to steal a march. To arms! To arms! May the line hold strong! All is suffering! All is destruction! All is death and pain and screaming!
Much obliged.
Back to the fight.
Injustice. Injustice gives way to trespass. Trespass demands redress. Redress comes only through blood. If the son strikes the father, let his hand be hewn off. If the serf wounds the noble, let him suffer the lash. Eye for eye, tooth for tooth. If a man should trespass, let his feet be seared with hot coals, and let him be whipped from the city! Injury
chancel, the more I feel drawn toward it, or to something in the tower above. Only Jane is worshipped here.
And here is the Legion, their hands washed with innocent blood. 30 years, and nothing has changed.
A woman who calls herself a saint might have learned to forgive by now.
Do not seek to twist my words. I shall not suffer the treachery of the Legion. Not again. I say to you, lay down your arms. The days of your Legion are past and gone. When I faced the traitor Mont Baron, the gods of my mother struck him down. And they shall guide my hand against you now! You cannot stand before my righteousness! The fires in this place give us strength, Legionnaire. My handmaids and I will burn you to dust. Now you will know pain!
Again, she turns and runs. She will not... Escape judgment.
You have defeated my Archons, crushed my soldiers, defiled this most holy of places. No more. The gods of my mother stand with me, while you have nothing but the ghosts of your broken legion. If any of you pretend to piety, pray to your gods now. Neither will I grovel or beg.
Give yourself up, and we'll treat you with respect.
You mistake me. I do not concede defeat to the Legion, so you need not offer terms. My gods have not abandoned me, not yet. They dance like shadows at the corner of my eye, and they whisper in my ear. I will go before the gods of my mother, appeal to them for aid, and call her fallen sisters back from death. And when I return, we shall drive you from this kingdom that is mine by right.
Where is Jane? Is she...
Vanished. She went to find her mother's gods, to appeal to them for help.
But they are long dead, unless she means... The forest, the place you call the Mournweald. It grew from a seed of the first creation. Perhaps it contains an echo of our gods.
Are you saying that your gods aren't dead? A part of them lives on?
Any fragment of the first creation would contain all the power of our gods, and perhaps a remnant of their minds as well. They would only exist as a potential, a possibility, but even in such a reduced state, they would be strong.
She thinks she can restore the other Archons to life, with the help of her gods.
Our legends say that no Archon could ever truly die. Their fires could always be kindled again if our gods willed it so. If Jane restored them all to life, she would have an army behind her.
We've got to follow Jane. How can we get to the Mornwheel from here?
Jane built this place on the ruin of a Legion stronghold. I've seen one of your causeways in the dungeon below. The gate was hidden behind a locked door, but Jane entrusted her handmaids with a key. I have it here.
Martin, what about our army? Has the battle ended?
We've won, but only thanks to you. A few of Jane's people surrendered. The others all fled.
You're too humble, Martin. I didn't win your battle for you.
No, I don't mean to be modest. We held our own, but we'd never have swept them off the field. When the fire burst from the top of the tower, the fighting nearly stopped, with everyone straining to see. Then the fire went out, and Jane's army knew that she'd lost. They ran like autumn leaves before a storm.
Can we take the elevator down to the dungeon?
Yes. No need to stop in the chancel. It will take you all the way to the dungeon below.
I'm with you. Let's go and see if this causeway is still intact.
Made it out alive, did you? Not bad. Since you did old Fitch a favor, let old Fitch do one for you. Got some good stuff here.
I'd consider his offer. You won't have another chance to buy weapons or gear before you face Jane.
I've still got plenty.
One way or another, this is the end of our road. Shall we go?
Stay here, Martin. Someone needs to take charge of the spire.
I thought you might say that. Meister Wolf doesn't lack for nerve, but the man's a bit mad. Seems wrong, though. We started this journey together. I would have liked to have been there at the end.
You're a good friend, Martin. Take care.
Remember, out of all the survivors of the Legion, the Radiant Youth chose you. He appeared to no one else. I think he chose well, and I'd follow you down any route. Goodbye, my friend.
Azunai be praised. You're here. You won't believe what's happened. It started just before you...
Jane Cassinda is here, in this valley. She thinks she can speak to her mother's gods and call the Archons back to life.
Well, whatever she's done, you better look outside. Something terrible is happening. It's like the sky's been set afire. Come with me. I'll show you.
Legionnaire! It seems that you've arrived just in time for the end.
We're alive, aren't we? Don't be so quick to give up hope.
Hope? You think I should have hope? Look! The signs are all around us. Stars are dropping from the heavens and we are all going to die. You see? It is folly to think of hope.
Jane Cassinda hasn't won. Not yet. I can still get you to safety in the causeway.
Causeway? But I thought only Legionnaires were allowed to...
You are a Legionnaire. And Lazar is under your protection, is he not?
Excellent point. To the causeway, then. I've always wanted to do this. To travel by causeway like the Legionnaires of old.
I'm happy for you. It would be a shame to get this close only to die under a pile of rock.
Go on, head through the causeway. You should be safe in there.
Here, take this key. You'll need it to unlock the door downstairs. Until our paths cross again. Hopefully sooner than later, eh?
Even now, it pleases me to be at your side. I believe that we will pass this final test. And Jane Cassinda will fall. I feel like I've seen this creature before. Somehow it is kin to me.
Jane Cassandra is close. She found her way to the tree at the center of the forest, and she's waiting for you there. I came to warn you. She is not alone.
She's called the other Archons back to life. I've already seen them. And another creature, too.
Not just the Archons and the Devas. Something much worse. It hasn't taken shape. Not yet.
Jane called something else back to life? Do you know what it is?
Nothing I have seen before. But anything is possible here. This forest grew from a seed of the first creation. It's alive with the power of the old creator gods. Jane has tapped that power. She has used it wrongly, yes. But it's still the same power that gave birth to the world. Limited only by her mortal mind. But it won't matter. If you strike now, you can still defeat her.
Is there anything else you can tell us? If what you say is true, we'll need every advantage we can get.
The danger won't come from Jane Cassandra. You have nothing to fear from her. The presence that is taking shape, that is the real threat. Destroy it, and the power in this forest will be broken. Jane's Archons and Devas will return to dust. That's all I know for certain, but I'll be with you again, before the end.
Hurry! Whatever Jane Cassandra has done, it is tearing the Mornweald apart. We're nearly there. Only a little farther, I think.
She is here. Be ready.
So you followed me here. You are stubborn. And I admire you for that. But you should never have come. I have restored the Archons to life. Just as I promised.
All this for what? To win a crown?
Yes. To take back this kingdom, as is my right. The Archons are not all that has returned. The power of creation still lives in this grove, and anything can be born anew. Even the creator gods themselves.
One of her mother's gods. She's called it back to life.
The voices of my mother's gods. I cannot hear them anymore. Not even a whisper.
They are lost. You will not see them or hear them ever again.
You lie, child. Or whatever you truly are behind that innocent face.
No, Jane Cassinder. I speak the truth. What remained of your mother's gods has been destroyed, and the power of creation has fled this grove.
That power was dangerous. Better that it's gone.
No. It was precious. My mother searched for thousands of years, and this was the only remnant of her gods that she ever found.
The power in this forest might have been used to restore the old gods and all their servants to life. Not the twisted half-life that you gave them, Jane Cassinder. A true rebirth, as they were at the dawn of the world. But you called upon that power to destroy, not to create. You twisted the power of creation to your own ends, until all that was left was an empty shell, rotted from within.
We have a decision to make. What to do with Jane.
Wait. I have a question, and I may never be able to ask it again. I was born in this grove 30 years ago, was I not?
Yes. I found you here, on the day the Legion died, and I carried you to the forest's edge.
So the Creator Gods, whatever remained of them, they called me back to life.
That may be. Yes.
If that's true, it must have happened quickly. Soon after Jane destroyed the Legion, but before the forest became corrupt.
Perhaps the Creator Gods knew that they were doomed, and they wanted Anjali to destroy them, to undo Jane's mistake.
If that is true, then at least I've honored them. Thank you. Your words give me comfort.
And Jane, what of her?
As long as she lives, Jane is a threat. A sword hanging over our necks. The Legion will never be safe. Not until she is dead.
I expect no mercy from the Legion. Do as you like.
No, you won't die today. I promised Rosalind that I'd spare your life.
Little Queen Mouse. I owe my life to that cringing girl. That is a fine irony. Am I to be your prisoner, then? Paraded through the streets in a gilded cage.
Atone for all the suffering you've caused. Help us to rebuild the kingdom.
You are not the Legion I remember. They were arrogant, and they would never have proposed such a thing. Very well. You have my promise. I will use what influence I have to help you heal this country. Let the war between us end.
By those words, Jane Cassinder, you are bound to the Legion now.
It's over then.
For now, you deserve a rest. But it may be short-lived.
Not all of Jane's followers will accept her defeat.
No, they will not. The country is still divided against itself. And the Legion has old enemies. They have not forgotten you. Some may be far worse than Jane. But you've shown yourself to be fair, as well as strong. Whatever happens, the people of Ebb will stand behind you.
You and I started this together. Whatever comes next, I will follow where you lead.
We part ways then. I will be watching. And one day, I will see you again.
You bid farewell to the Radiant Youth, and he sent you back to our chapter house in Stonebridge, where I awaited your return. In the weeks that followed, news spread of Jane Cassinder's defeat. Her army scattered, giving us time to rest and regroup. Martin Guiscard returned safely from the Spire, along with Meister Wolf and the Automaton army. Only a few weeks later, elections were held in Stonebridge. Meister Wolf, who had been so public in his support of the Legion, almost won the office of mayor. But he was defeated in the end. Many people had wanted the dapper old gent to hang. They resented the fact that the Legion had spared his life, and they blamed poor Wolf. After the humiliating events in the Foundry, Meister Castle was forced to resign as Guildmaster of Ironmongers. The Cyclopses negotiated a new contract for higher wages, and with the help of Meister Fiddlewick, formed a new workers' union. For the first time in 100 years, they were permitted to leave the Foundry and spend their newfound wealth in the markets and taverns of Stonebridge. Cyclopses are becoming an increasingly common sight in Stonebridge, and many believe that they will eventually take their place as equal citizens of the town. Archambault du Payen, formerly known as the Dapper Old Gent, proved a valuable addition to the Legion. His knowledge of Legion magic allowed us to retake control of the Sentinels that had long guarded our chapter houses and estates. But the Gent couldn't leave our chapter house without drawing an angry mob. His confinement started to drive him mad. So he returned to his beloved causeways, beneath an endless sky, and he dwells there still. With the reopening of the Heroes Crypt, pilgrims returned to the Rukenval, and merchants followed. The following winter was harsh, just as Lazar Basili feared. But thanks to the trade from the south, the people of Ravensrill stayed warm and fed. When spring came, many more pilgrims arrived, and the town of Ravensrill grew wealthy again. Lazar and his people built a new stone wall around the town and reclaimed their abandoned houses and farmsteads from the forest. It is a happy change of fortune for a long-suffering town. In his last letter to me, Lazar added one other piece of news. Gunderic Manor has a new mistress, a witch called Leona. The manor has become a gathering place for scores of Lescanzi witches, many of whom are apparently quite beautiful. Lazar reports that the young men of Ravensrill have also begun frequenting the manor, much to the irritation of their mothers and wives. Since the local men will not hear any talk of banishing the witches, it appears that Leona and her people have found a new home, which was perhaps what she intended from the start. Queen Rosalind abandoned Glitterdelve, embarking on a tour of all the cities and towns of the West, meeting as many of her subjects as she could. The Queen showed all the energy of youth, and I think she fully expects to reunite the country in a matter of months, not years. Reality may not be so kind, as Lord Devonsey has tried to make her understand. In truth, the future of this country depends more upon what we decide. If she doesn't have the Legion behind her, the Queen is only a single voice, well-meaning though she might be. As for Devonsey himself, I think the man was impressed by your decision to spare Jane Cassinder, as the Queen had asked. When he last visited Stonebridge, he spent a great deal of time in our chapter house. I believe he might actually be willing to rejoin our ranks, if we choose to accept him. Rajani and her sisters returned to Stonebridge, quietly and carefully disguised. Jane Cassinder's defeat affected them deeply, though not in the way I expected. Their devotion to Jane was replaced by a deep admiration for your companion, Anjali. I think they saw in Anjali the leader they should have followed all along, and they have lately expressed a desire to join our ranks. I maintain my suspicion of any Archon who once followed Jane, but I believe that redemption is not impossible, even for them. Jane Cassinder was as good as her word, though I had my doubts at first. She returned to the cities and towns of the East and urged the people to end their war with the Legion and the Crown. Jane's repentance was heartfelt, and many were swayed by her words. but others have not been so compliant. The Church Synod in Bisselberg, who once called Jane a saint, have declared her apostate and threatened her life. Though Jane refuses bodyguards of any kind, Queen Rosalind fears for her life. And if anything befalls her, our gains in the East may yet be lost. As for the Legion, the rest of our story is yet to be told. We have a nation to reforge, a fellowship to rebuild, and old enemies who would see us destroyed. And we have questions to decide. Who will assume true power in Ebb if the nation is restored? And who will take the mantle of Grand Master? But these matters I leave for another chronicle, and another time. Whatever happens, know that you will not face the future alone. The Legion will stand by you, always.